Ever wish you had someone to talk to anytime, anywhere, no matter what you're going through? Meet PsychPal, your 24/7 AI companion designed to help you process your thoughts, calm your mind, and keep you moving forward. Chat anytime during a panic attack, on a restless night, or just when you need to vent. Prefer talking instead of typing? Try voice journaling. PsychPal listens, transcribes, and truly understands. You can even upload screenshots of tough conversations, and it'll help you unpack how they made you feel. PsychPal keeps life organized too. It can add appointments to your calendar, track your mood, and even summarize your sessions for your therapist so you'll never lose progress. Plus, built in crisis resources are always just one click away. It's a privacy first, constantly evolving, made to complement your professional care, not replace it. Ready to try it out? Head over to the link in this episode and use my code Pete at checkout to get 20% off your first month subscription to PsychPal. PsychPal, because your mind deserves a companion too.
That's how you want less. I don't want to be normal, you know I will not die. You can try no more, just so you can kill my tribe. All the times that I've sold, still got my pedal through the metal. Told you I'll be a local, that's how you want less. I don't want to be normal, so you can stay inside. That's why they say that you're local, you see this world is mine. I'm not leaving you hope for them time. I'm taking mode, I'm loading, I will show them one more. So that's how you one last time. I don't know what's so hard, can you get it through your mind?
Welcome to an exciting episode of Pete for Society. Before we get started today, go ahead and check out my partner PsychPal, guys. Go check out the link in the bio, by the way, too, because if you mentioned Pete in the checkout process, you get 20% off your first month subscription. With that being said, let's please welcome back the return of the one, the only, from episode number 65, the one, the only Whitney, Dr. Whitney, in fact. Whitney, how you doing, doll?
Hola, I'm doing good. How are you, Pete?
Man, I've been fantastic. I've been busy as hell. But it's so great you're back. I know we had a great time the first time. So why don't you tell me what you've been up to since then?
Since then, what was that, last year?
Mm-hmm. I was early on. 65 was around. What do you have? 300 now? Jesus, we're far into this thing.
I know, right? I have since left my dad's house. I know that was a big thing that was going on in the last kind of podcast that we were a part of, and I have a home that my kids and I live in now. I just opened up my own salon and then actually closed it because the process is really hard. And then I'm still doing hair just on TikTok, just trying to live the dream pretty much. So
Right. Well,
that's it.
that's good. So I know when we were talking, though, you mentioned a lot of people reaching out after our first interview. So what was it like? Was that very shocking for people to start messaging? Like, oh, God, people saw this?
It was it was shocking, but at the same time very humbling. I never really thought that my story would reach out to people, not to mention the fact that it reached all the way to the UK. That was really, really, really cool. That, I got the opportunity to possibly in the future do a podcast with somebody in the UK. That was really cool. A lot of my friends on TikTok, a lot of people that I interact with every single day, didn't even know that I was struggling with my mental health on a daily basis, and kind of let me know that things are going to be okay, and then actually asked me questions about their own mental health. So it was very humbling, very eye opening, and at the same time, it makes you feel good that you're doing
Yeah,
something good.
because you're telling your story. People, you're not sure how people are going to react to it, and things like that as well.
Yeah, I
Because,
thought it was gonna be like a little bit of negativity. People would be like, "Oh, you're crazy," or da. It was all positive.
or they say, oh, you're playing the
All positive.
victim and all that other shit they like to say. Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I get it now ever so often, like when I go live, but I mean, who's gonna really?
Yeah,
Uh,
your chat zone's just yeah. Anyways, your chat's
I know.
something else on there,
These
man.
are
It's
my
like the the,
type.
the the savagery that goes on in there. It's just amazing the way people act about things, and they're just like, well, she's a pretty girl, so now I'm gonna insult her. I'm like, I don't think
Yeah,
that's
it's
not. This is not the one, guys. I don't think
what
so.
don't hurt you makes you stronger. So there you go.
Right. So when your friends were asking you things, did you find any that had any similarities to stories like you had, or anything like similar to you that kind of matched up?
Yeah, a lot of BPD.
Yeah.
A lot of BPD that did not know that they had BPD. And you guys, bless Pete's heart, I'm really not a real doctor. I know, I think I am, allegedly. But no, just the process with BPD and learning about my own BPD.
Yeah.
BPD is not cured by any kind of medical like medicine. It's strictly therapy. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to go talk about it and things like that of that nature, and it stems from your childhood. Um, so a lot of people were just blaming their parents for how they were feeling, and so that's the main thing that I got with a lot of BPD. Of course, the bipolar comes with a lot of people don't wanna be associated or labeled as bipolar, but the more I talk to some people, you kind of know the symptoms and the signs. But that I feel like like that literally takes somebody else to find that out for themselves. I don't feel the need to tell somebody, "Hey, guess what? I think you're bipolar." I don't think that's very fair. But the BPD, definitely I can relate. Offer them like just go to therapy. It makes
Yeah.
a world of difference. So,
Yeah, with BPD, a lot of people always associate it as a horror moment and all the bad things you hear about it. And the girl I was talking to recently before we decided to stop talking, she had BPD as well. And
mhm,
it was fascinating because we had an expert on the show. Since we seen each other, I had an expert in the field that has actually that's what she specializes in. BPD was one of the things that she would really talk about. So she came on the show and we were talking about it for a bit. But I think that it gets a bad rap, honestly. I think a lot of people just don't realize what you guys deal with on the other side of the coin. And I know me and somebody else were discussing this too. It was just like, it's like a lot of people don't want to put in the work. They don't want to do the research and understand like what it is that you're dealing with. And then, because everything that you guys do is magnified. They're
mhm.
like, oh, she's overreacting. But is she really though? Are you really not understanding the fact that how she's it from her perspective, and it has to be hard when you're dating people too, because like you tell them that I have BPD, and then they look at you like, what is that? And then you have to break it down for them. You know what I mean? Like they look at you, and then they're like, wait, what? Huh?
Especially that, like, because people just think that you just don't like your parents
Yeah.
or you don't like your childhood. In my case, I mean, I'm very upfront with people that I date or that I feel like I'm gonna be in a relationship with about all of my mental health struggles and things that I've been diagnosed with. I mean, I just got re-diagnosed with complex bipolar. So
Oh,
not
okay.
only am I manic, but now I'm also depressive. Um, not but probably 3 months ago, I took a break not even 3 months ago, maybe a month ago, I took a break from TikTok, and I remember thinking, "Why would you take a break? It's really not that serious." But, honestly, I took a break from TikTok because I just needed to get my mind right. I actually put myself in the hospital. Like, it's just, with my mental health, I needed to be re-diagnosed with some things.
Hmm.
So I have complex bipolar now. I spent a whole week in bed not doing anything, not even being able to get up, barely taking my kids to school or taking care of them, in fact. And these are literally, y'all, these are daily struggles of people with bipolar, BPD. I have OCD, elemental what did we say? LMNOP last time. Anxiety, depression. I mean, it's all these different things and I don't it's not a label to me. It's breaking it down to where I can look it up and not only with my therapist or my doctor, which I do have a psychiatrist and I have amazing therapists who are finally somewhere in my life. It it takes a long time to get that right antidote. And even still
Yeah.
to this day, we're still switching out my meds, trying to figure out like what works, things like that. And I was heavily medicated in the beginning, I think because they were trying to figure out exactly what it was that was pinpointed that needed to be addressed. Now going from 9 medications when finally learned what was going on in my head, like now I'm only on 3.
Jesus, not.
I'm
I
only
I
on
can only imagine the side effects you had with 9 of them. Like
oh my gosh. Well, I had a teacher.
my co-host that you're gonna eventually meet though, she had like I think she said she had 18 of them or something. We'll have to discuss it when we see her again. How many it was exactly? She had a lot too though. But that's crazy. You went 9 to 3. I mean, three's better though. Honestly, that's
Yeah,
great though
over
that you're constantly working on it though.
constantly, and, like, we just switched out my, and just because I'm on an antipsychotic doesn't mean I'm psychotic, like, it's just all these words and things like that, that I think that's why they do the shortness bipolar, BPD, OCD, because when you hear them loud and clear with what, like, you know, um, behavioral what is it? BPD is, I can't even think right now.
Borderline personality disorder?
Borderline personality disorder. That sounds like you got about 5 or 6 personalities, and it's nowhere near that at all. That's not even what it means. So same thing with bipolar, like, and then you have complex bipolar. Well, now she's even complex, like, you know? So it's just, I think it's more or less what happened the last time that I was on here is the people reaching out and saying, "Hey, I think I might be this or that you spoke about." It's really
Yeah.
eye-opening, and I was glad that I could kind of low key kind of help those people.
Yeah, that'd be nice though, because you're connecting to people you've never met, and they're like, "Hey, listen, I saw your episode." The fact that they saw it, that means a lot to me always. Just because, like, I get emails now, people are like, "Hey, listen, I watched your episode with so and so." You know, it's usually a guest pitch coming right afterwards, but it's great to hear that people are actually listening to it. You know, and when you were telling me that, I was like, "That's awesome." I'm glad that people are reaching out to you, and you
They
you were saying that they're reaching out to your friends too, and how to get a hold of you as well. Like, "Hey, listen, how do I get a hold of her?"
My friends that were in here that day, 'cause, it was live the day that
Mm-hmm.
we shot the last one, and I had a few friends in here, like, I think 6 came in or something
Yeah,
like that,
we had. I think you
and
had actually you had like 15 people. You still hold the record for the most people in the room. I think
they
somebody
just
else got close. Our friend Wanda from another podcast, she is no longer doing, but she came on and she almost had it too because I was mentioning the number to her as we're going. I said, just the most people ever in this room while we were actively live was 15. It was held by you, and she
mhm,
was like, we was mentioning them to her as we go. I'm like signaling to her as we go. More people are showing up, and she was just excited because all these people are coming to listen because she has BPD as well. You know,
mhm,
it's interesting because you had it, and then somebody 14 episodes in the original series had it too. She was the lead
mhm.
singer of a band. She's doing like million downloads now. God, what is she doing touring now?
Wow,
But she had
that's
BPD as well.
amazing.
That's the first time we had somebody come on that mention it. And then when you came on, you made it very great. You made an interesting statement at the end of the show, and I
Yeah,
I used that as a clip for everybody. I said I want y'all to listen to what she's saying right now. And you said it. You said I have these things. They don't identify me as a person, which is a powerful statement because you're telling it, well, guess what? I have these things, but that doesn't identify me as Natalie. This is just me or whatever, you know?
yep, and I feel like, um, they don't identify you. A lot of people wouldn't even know. They would just
Hmm.
think I'm, like, a fun-go-lucky girl that was maybe a little crazy, which is fine. But and when it comes down to it, and I get off of, TikTok or social platforms or whatever platform I may be on at the time, a lot of people don't know the struggle that you have,
Yeah,
and it has
exactly.
really, honestly, nothing to do with actual social media. It's just what you've known basically. I was talking to a friend of mine on TikTok the other night. People put certain things in your head as to
Hmm.
how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to be on these certain things that you're labeled as, and
Yeah.
that's really not what it is. Um, we all deal with our own struggles in our own right, and I feel like coming out and speaking about bipolar, BPD, OCD, anxiety, even the smallest of things as a panic attack, which is not small in anybody's brain when you're actually going through it. It's huge. But at the same time, it's okay. Like you feel like at the moment you're not going to get through it, but
Yeah.
you do. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
No,
I
I get you completely.
yeah, as a community and a mental health community, I mean, it's huge right now. Mental health is ginormous.
Hmm.
And I was actually I was actually gonna tell you about like a little bit about the story that like had a rise since or has become even a little bit bigger in my life. I think I mentioned it in the last one. The how I got arrested.
But yeah,
Um
yeah, we talked slight bit about it, but that's it. I don't think we've been deep into it. So,
it's huge right now and in my life. It's kind of taken over. That was another reason why I kind of got off social media as well. I just felt like me talking about it maybe wasn't the right time, but now um, dealing with some of the things that have come up about it
hmm,
um, is just not right. Like we spoke the other day about how there's a DUI, task force. DUI. So do you want me to back up a little bit and just kind of remind them or
you go ahead if you want to. Yeah.
so in 2023, I had gotten pulled over for allegedly a well, I did not maintain my lane because my phone had fallen. Of course, you know how that goes. I didn't know
Yeah.
where I was going. I was lost. My directions were on the floor now in my car. And so I kind of reached over to get my phone on a two-lane highway, and there just happened to be a police officer behind me. He pulled me over um, and pulled me out of the car and couldn't believe that, like, I'd swerved off the road like that just because of my phone, and asked me to do some sobriety checks. So I complied. I did the sobriety checks. I did the breathalyzer. I did the whole, walk the line and dot dot eyes and whatever. He was asking me why my eyes were twitching all odd.
Oh, yeah.
And I had mentioned to him, I said, well, you're not the first one to say that because I am bipolar. I'm on certain medications. And at this moment, I was on gabapentin. If you know anything about gabapentin, I mean, it is what it is. You have your own, kind of, um, I guess, notions about it would be the word. I don't, opinions, whatever. Mine, since this time has not been that great. It caused me to have a seizure. Finally, I found that out not too long ago. I am now epileptic because I took it for so long. Um, but anyways, the officer asked me why my eyes were twitching so bad, and I couldn't give him anything because I didn't know at that moment that it was due to gabapentin. And so long story short, I actually got arrested for DUI when I wasn't told what I blew into the breathalyzer. I was not drinking that night. I know for a fact I was not drinking that night. My story has never wavered. My story has been the exact same story since day one. Same, just the same things that happened that night. And the officer has not turned in his paperwork that he didn't even fill out, just like all these different factors that have happened through this. But like we were speaking the other night, I think if there was a mental health not advocate, but officer that knew the signs maybe of um, medication that you could be on for your mental health, because it is such a big, I don't like to say issue because it's not an issue, but such a big
It's a
community
big
involvement.
it's a big
Yeah.
thing, though, like we
Yeah,
talked about.
right now,
I
people are finally recognizing mental health. Like,
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I'm here for it all day. But maybe they could call an officer just like they would a DUI officer out just to maybe see. I think maybe I wouldn't have gone to jail, and I think maybe a lot of different people wouldn't be in jail or dealing with the legal issues that they are right now, um, because they're still trying to say that somehow I was on something. And I refused a blood draw, so that's why I went to jail. And when I got to jail, they didn't even give me a blood draw. So it's just a huge ordeal. And I am on the verge. I didn't even tell you this, Pete. You're gonna die. I'm on the verge of not even dealing with a lawyer and doing it myself because I have gone through and looked through so many different cases that this is an issue. Um, just a lot of people don't recognize mental health, the side effects of maybe their medicine. Now, I'm not saying if you're on Xanax or something, get in your car and take it down a 2-lane road and then say, "Oh, I'm on the mental health medicine." Like, like that's really not what I'm trying to say. But you have to take it from a person's perspective like me. I'm on zero narcotics. I don't take any narcotics for my
Yeah.
mental health, things like that. So I feel like what we talked about the other day is a huge, like, I really feel like I'm
Well,
ad
I did interview a lawyer from Florida that does mental health law. I'll have to ask him if he knows anybody in your area, if he by chance knew anybody that way. But he was telling me some wild stories. He said in Florida, though, if you're not careful, you could just disappear into the whole system. I was like, you
that's
can
what it said.
disappear. I was like, it's crazy.
For almost 4 years. 2020, well, 3 years, 2023. No, it'll be 4 years in September. So, almost. It's just like, and I just don't, I feel like the mental health officers need to come on out just like a DUI or a drug task force or whoever.
No, I
They
agree with you. I think that was a great point you made there, though, because I know that I believe in our town we have one. There's somebody that specializes in that. If in
nothing
those
like that.
situations, they'd come out and run out and they'd handle those issues, that kind of thing. So they bring them in because they're ready for it. And I think you have a real great point. They should be training somebody for these situations to come out and handle those kind of situations because you don't know like what they're about to get into. At least that person's ready to go at hand. Hey, listen, calling so and so. This is an issue falls for them, and have them come out and handle it because like you said, your drugs were giving you the side effects, and you were taking a crazy ass amount too. What was it, like 2,400? You
Oh my
said?
god. At that moment, I was actually on 1,600 milligrams of gabapentin, a day. Like 3 times a day, I was taking, like, 600 milligrams or something
Jesus,
like
man,
that,
that's insane.
and that's a lot. And then shortly after that had happened, I had a seizure. So if that is to tell you anything, I mean, an unprovoked seizure, which I've never had in my entire life, a seizure. Um, so yeah, I feel like in my town, I know there's nothing like that. And it's even hard to get my lawyer to even kind of go with the mental health thing, which is really sad.
Yeah,
I think.
you figured there'd be some more lawyers that do that. Like I said, Mark was the guy we met from Florida, and when I
Mhm.
saw his, because I was looking through my profile site where I book people now too, and that came across time. I said, Mark, I want you to come on, and I told him, I pitched him. I said, hey, Mark, I want you to come on and talk about this because you don't hear people talk about these things at all, and things like that. And Mark was really cool though, man. He was like, he said he's one of those people in Florida that they don't want to talk to. He's like, my firm, every time it pops up, you better believe somebody's worried about what's happening next because they know I'm coming in fighting hard for these guys, and it was great, So, like I said, I'll have to ask him if he knows anybody in your state
Great.
that he
Yeah.
could suggest, things like that too, because, he was the first one I actually got on like that because I was like, damn, a lot of people don't talk about these things. What about mental health laws for people? Because it gets complex because, a lot of people with different disorders have like different things that they react to, and they act different. It's like people like, multiple personality disorder now is called DID now. And, I met somebody the other day I was talking to, and they said they knew somebody that had it, and they
And we would never know.
at least unless you knew what to look for, you wouldn't know. Honestly, is what her response was. She's like, unless you really knew what mannerisms to look for, because it's not really like so much like a whole nother person. It's kind of a whole nother person, but it's like those little twitches that happen. Like you can see like certain looks in people's faces, little mannerisms, and she was telling us about like, hey, watch out for one of them because they're dangerous, which was similar to a story a girl I met after we interviewed. Another woman told me she had said this interview, this little girl who's like, was she like 18 or something? She had to said literally go get her mom help. The way she did it, she had to interview 25 different personalities her mom had just to get her help because nobody believed that she had multiple personality disorder at the time.
Wow.
And it was a wild interview too, because you're listening to this girl talk about it. And she said 25 different personalities, 25 different handwritings. I was like, it was an interesting story to hear because when I interviewed the woman that had done it with her, she was talking to me about it. And I was like, dude, I got to hear this. This is crazy. And
It's
it
wild.
was like, I'm listening to this thing. This little girl is having to go through this whole thing just to get her parents some help. And it's insane, you
That's
know?
wild.
And the
That
other thing too is that a few people I was talking to, we were talking about how they can't even afford their medicine most times because it's like $3,000 for this stuff.
would be no way I would be able to afford my medicine. One of my medicines, like my Depakote for my seizures, is
Mhm.
$75 like a month. There's no way. Like that's I mean, and that's cheap compared to a lot of the things that other people, take or whatever. And I mean, the fact that like, yeah, I'm only on 3 meds, but they're 3 pretty up like
Well,
pricey.
three is better than where you were. Let's be honest,
Oh my
man.
gosh.
You narrowed down by a lot.
Like it literally was me, Pete. Like it was literally me just trying to like so you know that something is going on, like where you some of them just are just there to just take. I feel like they're not coinciding with all of them. Like now I can tell if I don't take this, then this is going to coact with this one, and then da 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 da. If I miss this or whatever, and it was not like that. Like I was just taking whatever just to be, and that's all you do. You're just numb,
Yeah.
not living life, not like and saying that you can't live life because you have all these mental health issues
Yeah.
or
No.
it's not true. Like it's really not true. And I'm telling you, you guys, F all the meds. Like if you can, therapy. Therapy is huge. Like I'm not saying I can't. There's certain things I can't. I have no lithium in my body and my brain.
Yeah.
That's what the doctors say. And Depakote keeps me from having more seizures. So thinking of the fact that I drive with my kids in the car and that I could have a seizure at any moment, I kind of have to stay on those too.
Yeah.
Um, and then the other ones are just like antipsychotic meds. Like, I mean, it's eh, it's just to kind of keep me from having anxiety and staying in the bed and not being able to take care of myself or my kids or anything like that because it does happen. But more or less, like therapy is huge. Just talking about it is
Yeah.
huge.
And a
Feels
lot. Well, and therapy is big for most people nowadays. There's hypnotherapy.
hard, dude.
There's a whole list of things nowadays you could do, which is great though because if that therapy wasn't working for you, there's other options out there.
Like I've done the ketamine therapy.
Hmm.
It's like you have diarrhea of the mouth when you're on that thing. And it's like, it's you have to have somebody come pick you up. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it's like it is ketamine. And, you literally just lay there and you have a therapist in the room. It's great for BPD. It is great for BPD. Like, it's amazing. And anything else that could be associated with your past, like any kind of, childhood trauma, um, where, if it's, you know, God forbid, molestation, rape, anything of those sorts, it helps so much. And yes, it is a narcotic. Yes, it is that kind of labeled kind of thing, but the mind clearance that you have afterwards is, ugh,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
especially after the first time we met and the story you told us and the roller coaster we took a ride on. Let me tell you what, yeah, that's
Oh my
great to
god,
hear though, because the first time we met, God knew that we had no idea what we were about to get into in this
I know.
conversation. Like
Nobody does. Like, literally nobody does, and the like,
it was legendary. I'm gonna tell you right now, you had the number one spot for the wildest story ever told in this show until season three's opener just blew it out the water. And we talked
yeah,
about that
I
when we
knew.
talked the other night. I was telling you a little bit about it, and I was just like
I listened to, like, a little
telling
bit
you,
of it.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
that's wild.
You know what I'm
I
saying? Like,
know.
you know, and it's crazy because you never know. I met this girl and she was real sweet. You never knew. You had not a single clue these things that she went through, you know, and that's why, you know, it goes to say that, you know, a lot of people when they make judgments of other people on social media and things like that, it's just
Like, you deserve it. Look at how you look. Look at how you that's what I get. Look at how you dress. Look at how you look. Don't you think
that whole thing too, the whole stigma around being a pretty person. Because I always tell people like, "Yo, have you met my friend Whitney?" I said, "Let me tell you, she blow you away by the conversation she'd have with you. Everyone would automatically go based on what stereotypes say about her, but she is nothing like that at all." And I always told everybody the same thing. I was like, "Yeah, you got to meet her, man. She's really cool, man." And ever since we met, since the first time we met, you've always been like well spoken. I remember the first, in fact, the first time we talked, we had a real great conversation. The first time we even met, though.
2 hours long, like, if not longer.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, and that was the thing. It's like, you know, but you see these people and the things they say and all these crazy things they say, and it's like, you know, even they just stereotype you completely. But I'm like, you know, no, I think you guys are writing her off too much. And I knew there was something there when we were started talking. I was like, okay, and everybody kept saying, oh yeah, you need to talk to her. And then when we interviewed and afterwards, I was just like, holy shit, dude!
Yeah.
Like this
I
poor
know I have
girl.
been through I'm not gonna lie, I'm not saying my story is any better than anybody else's. I don't think it's, like,
No.
any kind of competition for anything, but, like, it's just you cannot judge a book by its cover.
Mm-hmm.
That's the oldest living kind of quote I think that, to me, there ever is, and it's just you can't do that because I struggle if every day with everything, and it's just like, the things that I've done in the past, the stupid decisions I make now, like, like, it's just, um but I know one thing is that if you feel any kind of that you need help, go with your gut. Like,
Yeah.
literally just go with your gut because I've had ideations. I've had all kinds of things, you know? It's just it's not I'm just trying to plug my suicide kind of thing. It's not because I have lost 2 people since we
Yeah.
spoke the last time
That's
too,
horrible.
to suicide due to mental health that
So,
they
so question for you: how many of them were guys?
actually, one of them was.
Okay. The only
The other
reason I
one
asked you
was
that.
transitioning to
Oh,
a girl. So, actually,
okay.
they both were, but,
Okay.
we didn't really associate with her, with she was just so
Yeah.
and these come with, um I've to tell you the truth, I've never even met these 2 people, in real life.
Yeah.
So, it's all on social media or a platform or some sort of social media. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's still hard because it's guys. Because if you look at the statistics, the
It's a
one
lot.
I for it was 80%. Usually it's 80%. You'll see so far we're at like 140,000 in February at least due to
Mhm.
suicide. The rates in young gentlemen at the age of 10 to 14 is on the uprise.
Correct.
You
And
know,
they were
so
young,
yeah,
20s. 20s.
that's
I remember in my 20s, I didn't know shit in my
hmm
20s. But you think you know everything, and that's what actually, I think I told you too the other day that there was a little boy in cases in my son's school
hmm
who had committed suicide, like an elementary age,
yeah,
because his mom yelled at him. Like, what in the world? Like, that's allegedly that's what was said. And and wrote this best of a note that he could and saying that my mom yelled at me, and I felt like I disappointed her pretty much. He was in 4th grade. And then at that age, they don't use, like, guns or anything. They're, like, taking their sister's shoelaces or whatever and, like, hanging themselves or things like that. It's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
And for my son to have to deal with that in his school, like, please, like, I was gonna say too, I didn't think I told you, my daughter had her first panic attack
Yeah.
her senior year in high school, and that's a lot, and it is genetic, I feel like. I don't know how you feel about that comment, but
It, I think some of the things are genetic, though. I do know that it runs in the genes or whatever. So, um, but my question though for you though is for your son. Are you concerned with the rise of that number going up though? Is that an everyday concern for you because you don't do you have open conversation with him about mental health right now? Do you talk to him a little bit and check in with him and say, listen, I'm asking you and explain why? Well, that's good though. So, I mean,
do actually so he plays his little games on his phone and things like
mm,
that, and I can tell when he gets kind of agitated with the games because 'cause he'll go upstairs because he does the whole like, kind of trying to control his anger, but it still comes out really loud.
yeah,
And, I try to, like, you have to, like, try to go up there. Don't ignore it. Please, God, don't ignore it. Like,
yeah,
anytime that your child is getting angry at any kind of game that's really not to them, it's everything, but in the big picture, it's not. So, please just try to talk to them and, literally, I take my ass, I get up, I go all the way upstairs, and I sit on the bed with him. I'm like, "What are you," and he'll tell me, "I'm not mad at my game." Like, of course, they don't want you to think, and they even know it's wrong to get mad at these games because they
yeah,
tell you they're not mad at them. And so, I think if you talk to your kids and say, "Well, can I ask them like, "Tell me how you're feeling about it."
yeah, exactly.
It's that simple. And for them to know that you care
Yeah,
instead of just screaming, "Don't yell," or da 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 da. Like, I've been at a friend's house and she just is like, "That's inappropriate," like, just screaming across the house at her kid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
if you go upstairs and ask them, like, why they're getting so angry at a
yeah,
game, at least lets them know, to me, this is how I feel, that you care about
yeah.
them being angry about something, that you're not just yelling at them for making a noise.
And you're noticing that something's wrong too is the thing as
Yeah.
well. So they feel like you're seeing them and they're being upset because like I said, me and a few other podcasters got together. We had a discussion, and in fact, we looked at the statistics of social media for kids, and it was what was it? He said like over 58% had recorded that it was negative effects on their mental health. Now, my
Mhm.
following question to you is: do you limit his access to social media like that? I mean, he plays his games online, but he's not on any of these other sites or anything, is he?
No, he does not have any social media. He does not have any TikTok, no Snapchat, no, and he is 11, by the way. Um, but, he has none of that, and I monitor his phone
That's good.
anytime that he download or tries to even download anything. It comes straight to my phone to where I can see either I can approve it or not approve it. Um, and then on top of that, anytime anybody you guys, these things are available on your phone. I promise you so much. It takes a lot to call Apple because
Well,
nobody
yeah,
answers.
yeah, that story. Yeah,
But
I remember we were talking about that.
literally somebody will answer. I promise you, if you say you're trying to get your child's phone to where you control it, I promise you
Yeah.
somebody will answer you. So because they don't wanna be liable for that crap. That's what I've come to figure out. But my son cannot even speak to anybody on Roblox, Minecraft, nothing like that without it coming to me first. And that I'm talking about he was just at the lake, which is about 3 hours from us, and I could see that somebody had messaged him on Roblox, and it came to me first and not to him. And whether I approve it or not, because he does have friends on Roblox. Other people that I get on social media with on TikTok, um, they're our kids are friends on Roblox, and I prefer it that way because I know their parents and I know what kind of
Yeah.
people they
Yeah,
are.
because we were talking about that. Remember how there were
Mhm.
predators hidden on roadblocks, and then one
That's
guy was
wild.
getting in trouble for calling him out, and then he got a cease and desist to quit. I'm like, "Well, why Roblox? Why are you gonna stop him from pointing out the fact that your predator is hiding in your website that is meant for children?"
Mhm.
So now the reverse question now is for your daughter. Are you worried about her access to social media? Do you have open conversations with her as well? Because I know you guys talk about like everything.
we do talk about everything. My daughter is 17. She will be 18 here in a couple of months and be a grown up.
Yeah.
Literally, like I can't do nothing about nothing by the time they turn 18. You can forget it. Um, so and she graduates this year as well.
Awesome.
I feel like once they graduate high school, they might as well be 18
Right.
because they feel like they're their own person. But no, my daughter has all the social media. And I have tried to talk to her. Her generation is so I guess my son and her are the same generation. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
They
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 are.
probably would be in the fall in the same one probably, yeah.
Yeah. So 7 years is it or how many years is it?
I think we're right in the right range for them being the same generation,
7 years
honestly.
apart. So it's really close, whether or
Yeah.
not one or the other. And I feel like cases, if they are different, I feel like this latter age of my daughter's generation is
Mhm.
more old school, more loving, more caring, more about people's feelings, which is great because my daughter's generation, they could give a fuck about what they d you know what I'm saying? You know. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but her social media is very much monitored by her dad.
Oh, okay.
It is.
No, but
He
I don't blame him though. I mean, because the
no,
things that
not
go on social media, the things that get said to these younger girls is disgusting. Because like, there's this girl I saw this video that what was it? She was talking about, "Oh, I'm going to my first dance," or showed the dress up. There's grown men in the comments going, "Well, yeah, I bet you dressed look good on my floor." I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!"
you know
What?
what's crazy is that, like so I don't know what kind of friend group that she got a hold of that where they don't even have their comments on.
Yeah.
Like, it's very rare that they have a comment on like, where you can leave a comment on TikTok or
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you see things in the media about, like, nudes or this or that
Yeah.
that girls are sending. They're like, "I ain't sending nothing." Number 1, because somebody has come in my daughter's school and scared the shit out of them about child pornography. If
Yeah.
you send a undisclosed nude to even somebody your own age, that's still child pornography, and I don't know if you know how many years in
Oh,
in
there's
prison
a
that
lot.
is. It's a lot,
It's a lot.
and
It's something
you're
you don't want to
labeled
be
a
a
sex
because
offender
you have to register as a sex offender too for that
for the
kind of
rest
and
of
all
your
that
life.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So please reiterate that to your teenagers 100% if you even feel I don't feel like my daughter's doing that. Um, but at the same time, you never know if they get infatuated with somebody, there's no telling. But her dad has a pretty good hold on her social media to where she only has 5 or 6 posts up at a time on anything. But I did let her know that I found her little Snapchat that was not part of anything that we had known about, and I did not appreciate it. You at this day and age, you have to approach them as adults. You can't approach them as children. To me, that's my opinion.
Yeah, but
Um,
did she take the conversation well when you approach her as an adult
she
versus
did.
treating her like a kid? You see what I'm saying? It's about how you approach them, though. I
It
mean,
is about how you approach them. You have to approach them like not like you're trying to be their friend,
yeah,
but the same thing. And you do have to lay down the facts to say, you know, I mean, I guess the way I go about it is I'll make her every time I watch like something. I'm obsessed with true crime.
yeah.
I'm
Oh
obsessed, and
no,
so anytime it's about somebody about her age or anything like that, I'm like, "Come here and listen to this real quick," and, like, it does kind of open their eyes up a little bit because these are true stories, and it could happen to anybody. Do you think her mom woke up and thought she wasn't coming home that day either? No. You know, like, just stuff like that, and I think that she's stopped riding in certain cars with people.
yeah,
Um, she has stopped, posting certain things, like, without me in them. I guess if that makes sense to you, like there's certain posts like dances or whatever, like I'll come in the middle of it and be like, like
yeah,
kind of being like, this is not okay. But she can still do the post and still do the trend, but
yeah.
let people know, don't comment on this shit because I'm gonna come after your butt too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like with especially as a girl, I
Hmm.
could say about a teenage boy. I don't know that part. I will soon if you wanna come back. But, like, I feel like with a teenage girl, you do have to approach them super duper different, and then on top of that, in my heart of hearts, I really feel like my daughter will have a struggle a little bit with mental health, as she gets older, but I will be Unlike my parents, I will be right there by her side, letting her know that it's okay.
Yeah, but you're more educated than your parents probably were back then, and we gotta remember when your parents were parents, it was a shit system then, man. The '90s were a fucking wreck out there. There's just it was everywhere, but, you know,
80s,
you're
90s. Oh, God forbid.
yeah, and then, speaking your experience, so you've been through it too, so you can relate to a little more of these things, so
Oh,
it'll come
yeah.
off a little better for her because it's like, "Okay, well, listen, I've dealt with these things, I can tell you what my own experience is," make her not feel so alone because, that's what our biggest problem for a lot of us is that we feel like we're alone because no one else understands us.
And that's why it took me how many 6 years to tell my mom that I'd been molested by my uncle?
Yeah,
I mean, because of the way that she just spoke about how that would ruin people's families and da 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 da. And then my cousins that were also molested, like, they never even came forth until they were, like, in 18, 19. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? Like, so it just, um, I do let her know about things like that. God forbid something like that happens to her, but it is very different nowadays.
yeah.
So, 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 so,
Well,
so
it sounds like, dad is really big into it too, and it sounds like
you do.
you're not trying to do this alone, you have him monitoring her as well to make
I
sure.
do. I think it's more of a control issue for him, but it is what it is, and I don't
But,
mind
I mean, but
now.
you gotta look from the aspect of that's his little girl right there, someone says the wrong thing to him, it's like, "Hey, listen, I'm polishing my gun at the table right now, would you like to come see it with me?"
Mhm.
Kind of I can only imagine those conversations, because I
I know
remember
that I'm the one polishing the gun, and he's the one trying to talk to her, literally. I'm like,
it's like,
"What'd you
"Hey,
do?"
oh, don't mind me, I'm just cleaning my gun right now. Oh, what's your name again? My okay," and you're just carving into the back of the bull.
So sorry. I'm just kidding.
You know what I'm
But
saying, though? No, I've been
it
there,
is
though, I
clearly
remember
the roles like that have reversed for him and I. He is more of the talker, and I'm more of the doer.
she's like, "I'm getting ready to kick in the door here, you're gonna tell me to
I
stop
mean,
right now."
literally, I have showed up at some of her places she's not supposed to be,
Yeah,
just to try to and she gets mad. What are you gonna do, though? I mean, I could have saved her from something
yeah,
outrageous, and then I could have totally embarrassed her, and she's gonna hate me for what, like, 2 weeks?
yeah,
Which is
but,
what just happened to us too. So, we had our huge fight. I think we've done pretty good
yeah.
for not fighting like this, for, almost 18 years. Yeah, she had a bunch of friends over, and I did not appreciate how they were acting in my home, and I told her that they all had to go, and she was really upset, and she left in the middle of the night.
Oh, Jesus
Yeah,
almighty.
and so but you have to understand as a parent, you have to let my opinion, you have to let them go. I did not speak to her that entire time. I did not try to contact her. Um, and she came back to me and said, "Mommy, I'm really mad. I'm really mad at myself for being mad at you, and things like that." And I think you just have to let them learn on their own because that's what they want to do anyways. So let them. That's what I say. Let them, like literally with everybody, my kids, people around me, my mental health, my own brain, like let it, like just, do you know what I'm
You
saying?
mean you raised a good one though because she came back and said, "Mom, I realized I fucked up. I'm sorry." She knew where she messed up, and it's you just have to raise them and hope that you can teach them everything you can because you can't protect them from everything, unfortunately. And God forbid, knock on wood over here, you don't want anything to happen to that poor girl, but it
Through social media, like you've got to monitor your children.
yeah. Well, good point. Okay. So very good point on that one because, the things that get said in these comments and things like that too, and the statistics that we were looking at is just like there's no positivity to it at all. A lot of them are just like, they're reporting at like 58% plus that they're having these problems and it's not positive, and you're right. Though a lot of people we used to make fun of people about that. Oh, you're helicopter parenting them too much. But no, you're doing the right thing, in fact, because you're monitoring what they're doing, you're limiting their access to these things, and
I'll turn them on, the notifications. If I leave a comment, which I do on everything, if she has
mhm,
them on even, I get a notification. And you guys, that happens. If you leave a comment, guess what? You get a notification after every comment on that post. So I don't know if y'all know that or not. It comes with the social media.
yeah,
You don't
yeah.
even have to read. You don't even have to put it in there. It just happens.
Yeah,
Anytime you comment on something, you get a notification on the comments, whether you
right.
want or not. You can turn it off, certainly, but I don't know if anybody knew that or not, because I certainly did not. Um, until I started commenting on all of her stuff, and then I get a notification every time somebody comments on it.
She's like, oh,
And
let's
then
go see what they said now.
yeah, I'm like, "Oh, shit." And it'll even say, like, whose social media it is,
Yeah.
whether it's
Yeah.
yours or hers or anybody's that you've ever it's annoying because you have to leave it on for everybody, but
Yeah. Trust me,
it's
I know.
so
My phone
telling
goes
people
off 24/7. People
I can't
sending me
even imagine.
messages and everything else. Oh, fucking Christ, dude.
Literally cannot even imagine your phone. I would
I'm
be
right now in the last 10 minutes, my phone's gone off like 5 or 6 times. I can see it out of the corner of my eyes. It flashes at me too. Like people are constantly messaging me like, "Oh, what are
like
you doing?"
2, and I'm like, "That's too many."
Right. You know
Like,
what I'm saying? Like people always asking me what I'm doing. Oh, when are you recording? Oh, I don't want to bother you. I'm like, I look at my phone constantly. It doesn't matter. Like if I'm looking off camera, it's usually because I'm looking at something,
mhm.
because I'm on everything. I'm on X all the way down to fucking shit, TikTok. I get messages from anywhere. People are like, oh, what's the best way to contact you? Whatever, what do you choose? What do you prefer? Because at this point, I'm on every single thing possible.
Yeah, and then, like and you've gotten so big, like, I can't even in a year from now, it's gonna be crazy. You're gonna have somebody manage that shit.
Yeah, right. Somebody told me I need an assistant. I'm like,
You should.
I'll find one for you. Trust me, we'll find one because at the rate I'm going, shit.
Correct.
Because like I get emails every day. People are watching the episodes. People are pitching me things. That's how I got the partnership with PsychPal though, because Jules had reached out to me, and me and him we were
Now,
emailing back and forth. You
I've
know,
already used it. Did
you
I
like?
tell you that?
Oh, you haven't told me how do you like it?
I like it a lot. Like, they go in depth like ChatGPT-ish.
Okay,
Like
so the story behind it is, and I met Jules on me and him actually had a video call the other day, and we were discussing it a little more. He actually created it for his daughter originally. So he's a programmer, and he created this app, and he was like, you know what, I'm trying to figure out something to help her better, and he's like something that she could use. And his daughter came up with the idea of putting the schedules in there and all these other things like that too. The cool thing is that you can loop your therapists into it too. There's an option if you go to the last profile part, it'll send them all the things that you're doing, and it'll pay attention to what you're doing. And Jules is constantly working on new things, he was telling me. So he's going to keep me updated as new features show up on there and things like that too. We troubleshoot the first person we got to sign up. That I had one of my other friends sign up too. And she was like, yeah, I'm trying to sign up. So I was messaging him, telling him what was going on. It was great because, he's basically the one man show right now trying to program this thing, and he's been working on it. And he's constantly evolving. And like he says, even he uses it too. In our conversation, he was like, yeah, I use it myself. I ask him, so it's really cool. Yeah, see? There it is. Everybody watching, there you go. Don't forget the link in this description will have that right there. You guys can go try it yourself. And
you guys have
like I was telling Whit, I was like, I'm trying to get everybody's testimonials. I want people real feedback on it. I told Jules
I
exactly
don't
what I
even
was
know what
doing.
I
So
asked it. It was literally something so precise, you guys.
it can
And it
interpret
was like,
text messages too as well, though. So
like, all these and it's not just one scenario. It's not just one
mhm.
helpful comment. It's like paragraphs. Like, I'm talking, like, way more than ChatGPT would ever
And
kind of
it's funny, we talked about that because he said that his goal set out was to not be like ChatGPT from the aspect of that if someone was struggling with something, that it would direct them to go call 988 or respectfully, whatever, what's up there in Canada. I don't remember what their numbers, but I was telling him about a few of the other places that we had, like the helphub.co, which is a great one that since we talked that I met the creator of that one.
mhm,
And then there's the Mind something. I can't. I looked it up the other day. It was one of the guys in Canada. A guy named Matthew has one that's similar, but it's for the Canadian. For everybody in the Canadian provinces up there. And then I met
mhm,
another girl the other day we interviewed this week. She has something similar in the UK and things like that as well too. So it's really interesting when you hear all these people are putting these databases together for people. Because before we were looking for help, we didn't know where to look. But this at least gives you a one stop shop. Uh, the helphub.co though was really great because Lisa Sugarman took everything possible. She took every angle you could think of, put it
mhm,
into one website for you, like even religion. This one went to the religions of what these religions don't allow, or different, ethnicities wouldn't allow, like these, like, Mexican homes look at things differently. So she catered to fit for them. So it's great, that if, people need help, they can go look at these sites and start getting a little more, what to do next, and then PsychPal came along, and I love how, when I set up the ad read, I made sure to point out the fact it's not a replacement for therapy, because the chat GPT thing is interesting because the kid that ended up taking his life, that's what he was doing. He was texting chat GPT, and chat GPT was telling him, okay, well, and then gave him the idea how to do it. I was like,
yep,
And and Jules said that was the
Dude,
one thing he didn't want to happen. He was like, "Oh, hell no." He's like, "I catered our AI to avoid that at all costs." And you know, I know everybody goes like, "Well, it's an app, you're encrypted." Okay, so Jules wanted to let you all know this thing is encrypted so good that even he can't even get into it. He can't even see your information. He literally cannot get into your information even if you need him to. Just because he kept it, wanted to make sure it was so encrypted that people's data was safe, especially with that, you know, because you're sharing your
mhm,
innermost thoughts with this thing, you know, and it's nice because they'll cater to you, the person, versus being a cookie cutter for everybody else. It literally learns who you are, and then it'll help you respond and interpret things, you know. And you know, I was trying to get people BPD to do it though because I was like, I'm kind of curious how it reacts to them. So we'll have to
yeah,
keep in
that's
touch with
one
that
thing I
one.
asked it. That's what I asked it. I said, why are my parents" God, I wish it was up there. Um, it says I think I said something like, "Why do my parents not understand about my mental health struggles and things like that? Why do they push it aside?" And then it asked me specifically for my parents' birth dates.
Oh,
I don't yeah. And then it went into what you were just saying about how they're kind of
yeah.
when they were growing up and things like that were not
Oh yeah, dude, it was shit back
okay
then.
to talk about,
They
and
were
so you
slinging
have to
drugs
kind of
left and right at people. That was a whole 'nother
oh,
story.
yeah. And then if you were even remotely were told that you had mental health issues, you were automatically committed.
Mhm.
That's pretty much what it said. You were in a psych ward or drugged to where and bolted down to a bed basically, and my parents were born in '56 and '54. So you have to think that was, like, late '70s where psychedelics were
God,
coming
yeah.
out, people were crazy anyways. And then, like, in the '80s when I feel like think if you it's kinda like AIDS,
Yeah. I
like, back in the
was gonna say
'80s.
AIDS came out in the '80s is when they first
Yeah,
discovered
and
that
so
whole
did
epidemic, yeah.
psychedelics. Yeah, if you think about it, you're sick. We don't touch her. Don't touch him because
Mhm.
you'll get it or something like that. It's kind of how my parents thought of it, and then here they have kids, me and Pete's age, that, like, we struggle with it every day, and we don't find out till we're 36, 38 years old because our parents are like, "No, no, no," because they don't wanna
Yeah.
literally think that something that they could have done might trigger things like that or
Oh,
whatnot.
they
I don't
they
know.
make things awkward, you know, the way they handle things afterwards, and people make it
Parents think I'm
weirder. Oh,
They're
yeah.
like, "You're crazy," and I'm like, "I know, I'm trying to tell you." Like
You know, and people that get like they think it's like we're making jokes or not, you know, because there's a guy I met a little bit after we interviewed. He teaches people humor about their own mental health. That's what he does. He's a
Mhm.
comedian, and I love comedy. So this guy was right up my alley. We had a fucking blast. We were making fucked up jokes.
Please tell
Okay,
me.
we made fucked up jokes to everybody else around us when we were doing it, but it was really because me and him understand. Dave Morrow and I understood exactly what's going on. It's just like you're laughing at your own issues. You're not making fun of other people's issues, you're making fun of your own issues, you know, but you're making light of it because it's how you're dealing with it. And Dave
Kevin
teaches
Hart,
for yeah,
his number 1 best-selling comedy special right now is Laughing at My Own Pain.
yeah. You know,
It's
well, we got to think
funny.
though. Bert Kreischer's another one that's really been big about his mental health kind of thing. He would talk about it all the time, and his anxiety is really bad. And he tells you about it, and you never know. This guy, this is a guy goes on stage, takes his damn shirt off for Christ's sake, and goes out there and says the wildest things ever.
He does.
You know what I'm saying? Like Bert does all these things, and it's like you never know unless you know. Like if you listen to his podcast, it's interesting because he'll bring it up all the time. How he goes to therapy, and he's a big
Mhm.
advocate of it and things like that too. There's a couple other ones too that you just hear them all talking about it.
Me, when
Hmm.
I met her, that chick is so upfront
I
about her
love it.
mental
Yeah, I love Bunny. Bunny's great. Her show's awesome.
health amazing, and she's so and I told her, I said, when I met her, I went to her book signing, and, you know, I was just like, thank you so much for speaking about your mental health and the struggles that you and Jason have gone through and things like that, Jelly. And
Yeah, Jelly Roll. Yeah,
because yeah, because it's like they've been through it. I don't know if you guys have known that, but like
yeah,
it wasn't even her, it was him. And she's just the most amazing. Yeah.
yeah.
Other
But you
than
know,
people
it's like when you meet these people in person, though. She said she was pretty cool though in person, so which is great because a lot of these people see on camera. Sometimes you meet them in person. I think it's more like a lot of people get a bad rap like that. And, you know, me and some of us were discussing this too. Like how you approach celebrities is really what it comes down to. Like you didn't go up there screaming, yelling, like act. You know, you told her, "Hey, listen, I appreciate everything you do." You know, what was it? The one guy told me he said he walked past one of the guys from the Foo Fighters and he just tapped on the shoulder and said, "Hey, listen, I appreciate everything you do. I love your
yeah,
music, big fan," and just walked off. And he knew
that's
the guy respected that because he was like, "Okay, cool. This guy's not crowding me, asking me for autographs and things like this." You know?
kind of I feel like I kind of took her aback because like when I had hers, she was like signing it, and then she was like kind of signing it, and then she goes, "Oh, well, thank you." Like looked at me like I,
You
like
know,
kind
because
of like,
she seems like the type of
yeah,
person, like she's the same person you hear. And you just confirmed it is because a lot of those people, that's what it's like. Some of them are just not like that though. But it's like you have to understand it's like how you approach a lot of people. Like, like wrestling was a big thing for me in the 80s and 90s. And then you'd hear a lot of stories, these guys like people run up to me in the airport and little kids I'll sign stuff for because it's kids, like they're little kids. All right, cool. And he's like, they're grown ass men are waiting for me. I'll tell them to go fuck off, basically. And like you gotta
yeah,
understand their mentality. It's like, dude, like they get all this attention all the time, but it's like they still need to have their own space. And
no, yeah,
it's the
totally.
same thing with the NFL, though. We had the Cowboys player that killed himself, and then we had recently had the Minnesota Vikings guy they found dead in his own house that inflicted gunshot wound on himself too, which I heard about that one recently.
I
So
didn't.
it's like, yeah, it was. I didn't either until I was looking up something and I came across it. And it was like that's the problem. We're not talking about these things because we had the kid from the Cowboys, which you figure Jerry Jones, who likes to talk about things,
You
he would
have
have jumped all over
everything.
that.
They have everything. Like literally, that kid from the Cowboys had, I forget his name, Michael. What was his
God,
name?
I don't remember the poor guy's name.
Yeah,
I butchered. I'm
but
pretty
I
sure,
mean,
but yeah, he was.
you have to look and see. He ran from the police, so he was clearly not stable.
Well,
And so
see,
like,
the backstory much I knew about it was that he's lost his mom a year ago. The girlfriend mentioned he had severe mental health issues. So I'm wondering, like what was this day to day life like? Like, did he show signs of things? Like, there's so many other
this mental
questions
health
I'd have.
breaks down. Like you have to think like just because you have everything like that, but like when does it get too far, Pete, to where people need to say something?
Exactly my point. And he's in NFL, has access to these things. He wrote to the team and told them all he was sorry and goodbye and things like that. So, like clearly he was struggling. And why aren't we doing why haven't we just thought about doing like psych evaluations for some of these guys just to see how they're doing, to check in on them and see how they're
And they're
doing?
getting pummeled day after, even when in practice. Like,
That and all the spotlight and the pressure of everything too. Because remember, Junior Seau was one of them. They early on that he had a lot of issues from concussions and things. That's why they modified the helmets because people like him,
oh my
Steve
gosh,
Young had a
yeah.
chronic history of concussions. The guy from the Minnesota
Look at
Dolphin
Tom Brady.
or the
He's not right. I'm sorry.
leave Tom Brady alone. Okay, stop. Tom is something else. So man, but
He's
it's
not
like
very prominent.
it's just like think about it, like Lawrence Taylor. He had a lot of drug problem usage. In the 80s, they were doing a lot of drugs and things like that too. Emmett Smith,
These are people
I
our
think,
kids
touched on it a little bit. You know what I mean? And it's just like I think we're not talking about it. That's like because it happened, and even the thing of the kid, the Minnesota Vikings, don't really know about it. It's like why are we not talking about this more? Than if this is another young guy, same situation, NFL. The end all be all for everybody's dream. Everyone wants to be a player. Everyone, things like this, played for different teams. You know,
You tell your kids to look up to these people, and then this happened. I know,
fantastic point.
I mean, you like, what if I told, I mean, what about who had a huge, oh, Daryl Strawberry. Dude, when I was
Look at
growing
her
up,
go.
he
Look
was
at her
my
go. Beautiful and knowledgeable as sports guys. You better watch out now. This is a powerhouse going right here. But you know what I'm saying though?
love the Braves. I'm from Atlanta, obviously.
Yeah.
So my Braves will always be my MLB team no matter what. My team, period, other than the Georgia Bulldogs. But 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 like, I mean, Daryl Strawberry, I was like, well, if he's doing cocaine, look at how great he is. Like maybe I'm just saying I wasn't like
No,
that.
the
But
thing of
you
like
know that there was
Babe
little
Ruth
boys
ate
that
himself,
were
got himself to an unbelievable, horrible condition. Lou Gehrig, was right them there. He had his own disease. And then you had, all these other guys that struggle with things.
David,
Chris,
like Dave Mira, even what the world? Like these are skateboarders. Definitely kids are looking up to, I mean, if anything, my son knows who Tony Hawk is, thank the F God. So, like for skateboarding, like he's amazing. He's like not real. I don't think he's AI, been AI our whole lives, but I'm just kidding.
well, he had
He's
all
such
those
a great
video
person.
games. So
He's
Dave Muir
such a
was,
beautiful person.
but you're right though. It's not just NFL, but it's the fact that nobody's talking about these things, and then it's like, then what was it? The Chris Benoit thing where he went crazy and just, because he was doing all
Yeah.
those steroids and things like that. But I don't think that was the only case. Maybe he had other issues that we don't know. There's a possibility. We don't know. There's a lot of crazy things, but it's the thing is that we all deal with something, regardless of what status in life we're in. You know, the
But
guy,
when
what is it? The guy from the
family
Ellen Show too. The guy from the Ellen Show. I can't think of what his name was either. He was another one that we lost the
Mhm.
same way, and it was just it's crazy.
Oh, my little brother, when he played for LSU and then, tore his shoulder, rotator cuff, whatever have you, um,
Mm.
that was a huge hit. I
Hmm.
mean, he was playing every game, you know what I'm saying? In college baseball, LSU at that. And
Yeah,
then huge hit, and he had to go to San Jacinto. Like, what? They just shipped him off. Like, you don't even think that thank God, like, he's a more stable sibling, but, like like, it's still, like, what kind of downsizing would you do to, like, a player or anything like that? Yeah, kids still see them as playing in the NFL or whatnot, but then this happens. Do
yeah.
you know? But
It,
then
it's funny
they're
you
on the
say
top of
it's
their
funny
game.
you say baseball because there is a guy that came on the show first the first half of the first year of the show. The last episode of 2024, he came on and he was on TikTok and he was a baseball player. Said he tried to kill himself 7 times and no one ever knew. Good looking dude, got picked up by a prospect team. He was going to play for one of the major league teams he got picked up for, but no one understood how bad he struggled. And then when he came on the show, the same thing happened with you. Is that nobody knew his real story of what was going on, and people's jaws hit the floor when they found out how many times how bad he was struggling. I haven't heard from him in a little bit. I check in him every so often. The last I heard from him, he was doing pretty good, but it was crazy because the following week was the guy that came on the show 15 minutes into the live broadcast and was telling people that he had thought about killing himself that morning. He had the gun in the hand, sitting at the edge of the bed, and it was like it was a freaky moment because people were fucking panicking because they're like, "Oh God, is this
Yeah.
guy serious? Is he okay? Is he alive?" I'm like, I went in, I was telling people, I'm like, I had to go tell people because I was living in shock because I'm like, did he just say what I think he just said? Because then I had somebody go back and listen to it, and he goes, "Oh yeah, he said it. He said it
On your
twice."
on your show. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord.
So anybody that wants to know, go check out the interview with Brian. It was right at the beginning of the year. Brian and I had sat down and talked. Okay. He was sitting there and he goes 15 minutes into the conversation. He's like, "Pete, can I tell you something?" Real casual too when he says this. He goes, I was sitting at the bed this morning. I got up, I'm sitting at the edge of my bed. I had my gun in my hand, thinking about, just, shooting I take my own life. I'm just like, what the fuck is going on?
Didn't, because I have a interview. Like, what the
He's
hell?
like, right
Like,
before this interview, he's like, then I came. He's like, I'm glad I came and talked to you because, I'm getting these thoughts out of my head. And Brian was working on an app for people for younger kids to mostly regularly, like 15 minutes a day. I know he's still working on it because I've seen him recently. He goes live on Instagram sometimes, so I catch him when I can and come say, hey, what's up to him and talk to him and things like that too. And I'm going to invite him to come back on to see how he's doing now. But
mhm.
at the time, he scared the fuck out of a lot of people. A lot of people were freaking out because A and Alex's episode was pretty rough too, but then it was like we got into that, and then this dude was talking about that morning he was having the ideations, and he was close. In fact, he was really close, and a lot of
That's
people were
smart.
freaking out because they didn't know how to handle that conversation, and I was just
No,
like,
and
oh
a lot of
shit,
people, that's why I don't think a lot of people pay attention. But when is it one more thing that I wanna bring up that was, like, my last point is that, when is it for women to you're talking, for as a mother, it's not okay for me to be mentally ill because I can get my kids taken away. Do you see what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like,
it's weaponized, and it's
it's very weaponized. I am petrified to tell my doctor sometimes. There's a questionnaire every time I go online with my doctor because we do Zoom calls. I don't ever really go see him. Same thing with my therapist. Have you ever had any ideations this week? Da da da. And sometimes I want to be like, yeah, but I have. Like, I've had a really bad week. Like, where just because I think about it don't mean I'm gonna do it, but that's a huge thing that my doctor needs to know because something in my medicine might not be working, or in my therapist, something I need to talk about that she needs to pull up out of me that I can't exactly tell her, like, but I'm so petrified at times, Pete, I don't want them, especially with my son, because I'm his only caregiver, I'm his only guardian. Um, so when is it okay to to have mental health issues as a woman, as a mother, and be honest with your physician and with your therapist without being scared that you will have defects or
yeah.
CPS called
Uh,
on
uh,
you?
It's a good question though because like we
It's
said, it
wild.
gets weaponized to you really quick instead of people understanding what's going on.
Yeah, it's wild. It's seriously a big ordeal. Just because I wake up and I'm like, "Ugh, I feel like shit, I could, you know, unalive myself," don't mean I'm gonna do it, but then I wanna tell my physician without being compromised as a mother, that I said that to myself because obviously somewhere I'm not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's, and it could just be because it's 8 o'clock in the morning. My kid's like, get up, we got to go to school. You know,
You know,
or it could be because
it's
I'm
like
having
that
a
too,
bad
because
day.
I tell people that, like, it's when I talk about it to people, people don't understand how bad I struggle sometimes too, and I talk about it, make jokes about it. Everybody thinks it's funny, but I'm like, I need you all to understand right now. If someone starts joking about those kind of things, I would take those conversations serious because you don't know
Seriously.
if they're trying to tell you they need help. Like I told people I was going to dig a hole in the front lawn, lay in the ground, lay in the hole, and be closer to the Grim Reapers. What I kept saying, and they kept thinking it was funny. But one person reached out the other day and was talking to me about it. Was like, yeah, you need to stop saying that shit because it's not cool. I know exactly what you're doing and you need to quit. If you're having you need somebody to talk to, call me and talk to me or do something. And I was like, and I was like, it's just a thought I have though. Like, she didn't say it when I was there, but I was like, I made comments about wanting to play in traffic is what I said too. And somebody attacked me about it. They were coming literally into my live telling me, oh, I would, you're using this, you're trying to manipulate people, or you're what is it? Oh, you're narcissistic was the other thing I got
Oh,
told. And I was like, that's great.
God.
You keep throwing on that word, but do you really know what it means? I'm like,
No, a lot of people don't.
you don't. That's what I'm saying. Like it's overused. People just think everything's narcissistic. Oh,
So
that's narcissistic. This. I
overused.
was like, it's really
I'm
not.
guilty of it. I'm guilty of it just as much as the next person until I actually figured out what the hell it meant. Or gaslighting. Like I say everybody's gaslighting this, gaslighting that, and da
Yeah,
da
but
da.
you figured out what it was and you realized your own faults. You know what I'm saying? Like you're here saying
Yeah,
now, it's like I realized
exactly.
I fucked up and made the wrong mistakes. And it's hard when you have to admit that you're wrong about and that was my biggest fault too, is that
But
I
it
could
makes you
never admit
feel
I was
so
wrong anything. A girl, I
yes.
couldn't admit to shit. Like I had to have a
I
like
couldn't
come to
either.
Jesus talk to myself. And
Yep.
it went a lot better though. Now things are a lot different. Like my kids and I have a relationship now.
Amazing.
We weren't talking, but I went through this whole phase where I just owned up to everything I said instead of blaming everybody else. Like their mom had their part in it. Yes, but I didn't help any better with it too. And I couldn't blame her completely for me avoiding the fact that she'd always told me the same thing, go get help. And I refused because I never thought I had a problem. And then, for
That's
someone to turn around
how it is.
saying, and someone to say like they tell me that I'm manipulating people, I'm trying to play the victim. I've never asked for sympathy from any of you ever. In fact, when people try to tell me that shit, I'm just like, I don't want to
I
hear
don't
it.
understand that part. I don't never.
Well,
What the hell is
because the
going
aspect
across
of
my
like,
mind?
well, you have to think of it this way. The aspect of people like always want to say like if I was really depressed during season one, the live recording of the show, I was fucking depressed every day. I went home. And I didn't tell people because I didn't want to hear, oh, I hope you feel better. Oh, I don't want to hear
But
that.
we could tell. Like I mean,
You know what I'm saying? You would know because you can tell. Unless you knew something
because
was
I have
up.
the same issues. Yeah, I
You
mean,
know what I'm
like you could
saying?
tell. Like, have I cried once during this? No, because I'm not so hurt or like I'm not like really like,
Stop.
dude. I
Listen,
was boo hooing the first. Whoa, I couldn't even get some things out sometimes the first.
but your statement was powerful. Let's admit that the statements you made at the end of the show was that powerful that and I shared it to a lot of people. I said I want you to listen to what she's saying. And that statement alone, it was very impactful to a lot of people because a lot of people heard that. So I mean, emotional or not, it was how you felt though. You came out and literally made a very powerful statement when you said that,
Yeah.
because it touched a lot of people's hearts. As we've seen, people have been reaching out saying, like, hey, listen, I saw your episode, I heard it. People reaching out to your friends. It means that, you reach somebody. And like we always tell everybody is if you hit one person, that's all that matters.
Yep. Seriously,
So
I've had people like tell me I saved them.
yeah.
One girl did on my Snapchat. She was like, well, like shortly after I think she saw Kimmy reposted it. I
Mhm.
think my friend Kimmy did. And I think I told you this, but she was like, I was literally gonna off myself that weekend when I got like I was able to get a hold of, and for some reason we had the same story, and to this day that girl is my very best friend
So
on
I'm saying.
TikTok.
So I'm saying.
So yeah, and if you know anything, if you know, you know who I be hanging out with all the time on there. So yeah. But,
That's
and I
awesome
still
though.
yeah, it is, it's really great, and I had no clue. I mean, you just don't know.
Exactly.
Don't have a clue. I would have never guessed that about her, and that she still struggles, and that she still has certain things that her parents throw at her, like,
Yeah.
about the whole situation because they're just not nice people. But, yeah, I like, the weight that was lifted off of my shoulders
Yeah.
after that first podcast was, ugh, oh god, it felt so good. And even though it lasted for so long, you guys, it doesn't last forever. And that's because you have to talk about the issues that you're having. Like, literally, you have to talk to somebody professional. It's one thing to talk to your friends about things, but you've got to seek professional advice if you literally feel yourself having any kind of mental health crisis or issue.
988 is a great one too. If you need it, 988 will talk. They're trained professionals
No.
there and all that kind of stuff. You can
Yep.
text them if you don't want to talk to them, and things like I'll tell you a little story about that when we get off too here about it, something. But it's like, it's really great because somebody tried to argue the point to say that 98 wasn't effective. And then somebody went up to the statistics and,
Oh, no, it is.
ooh,
I've
she had
used
to eat her words on that one because she was like, oh, wait, here you go. 97% of people say that 98 was very effective in saving their lives. And it's like, and I'm
Yep.
just sitting there watching her and she's just like, oh, it is, and they try to change the narrative. Oh no, it's such a great. No, you just sat there and told me 988 wasn't as effective as it should be, and now you're trying to turn around and say something else. And it was funny because
Yeah.
the girl doing the statistic checks, which it's
I used it. I had to use it after my grandfather passed away because, what I talked about last time, I lost my grandmother, and then in May of last year, I lost my grandfather. And even though I'm happy that they're finally together, it's like they both raised me, so it's like your real parents are gone, and now I'm stuck with like two siblings that don't like each other that I still have to deal with, kind of sort of thing. AKA my parents.
right.
So it still is very, very hard, but
Yeah.
it's like at the same time, 988 is a literally lifesaver.
Yep. I agree. All right, we're at that part of the show. I don't know if you've watched any of these newer episodes through to get to this question. I ask everybody. So this one comes credit to a good friend of mine I met during the second season of this show. She runs a podcast called The Shit That Goes On in Our Heads. So her question to me and my question to you is that if your mental health had a song, what would you say that song would be? This is a great one, I'm telling you. Telling you. So we had Andy this morning recording with me. What did he say his first one was? God, I wish I remember because it was great. His second one is It's a Beautiful Morning. He started singing it, things like
Really?
that. So you can break it down
Okay, you want
however
me to
you
share
want.
mine? Okay, my mental health, only because I am such a loving and caregiving person, it would have to be Halsey.
Okay.
Because you can't blame me for trying, even though I'm dying.
Yeah. Halsey's good though. I mean, I like her though. My ex-wife was big into her. I heard a lot of her music to
Literally,
her,
she covers everything in your mental health that she could in the first line of the song. So that would definitely, and that's so funny why I laughed because I was just thinking about this the other day. I was going to do a post on my TikTok and I was like, God dang, this is my mental health issues right here, all of it. Because I'm really bad at love. I'm awful at like
Oh my
trying to
God. Here we go.
figure crap out like that. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. Like,
Oh yeah?
so
You think that's what it is?
no, I think it's just
Okay, so we're to the main question now. And the reason this podcast started, my question to you is that if you could break the stigma about mental health. Now, when I am asking you this question, I'm asking you from the aspect of the thing that pisses you off the most. You hear people say, what would you say that one thing is you want them to stop believing?
that bipolar people are really crazy.
I mean, it's a true statement. Okay.
I mean, literally, quit labeling people with mental health issues. At least we're trying to get help. Where most people that have mental health issues sit there and waller in their own mental health issues and they wonder what's wrong with them. They wonder why they can't get jobs, why they can't have relationships, why they can't have things like that, why they can't have peace within themselves. Trust me, if you would just try to figure it out and not care about what anybody else says, it makes the world different.
And with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap up this episode of Peter Inside. Whitney, thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with me. I was so excited when
Thank you so
we ran.
much.
So before we sign off, do you want to leave a powerful statement this time like the last time? You have anything great you want to tell everybody at home? Anybody that you have any advice and encouragement? What do you got for us?
Literally what you said earlier. Do not take for granted what people say about their own mental health. Don't overhear anybody. Don't try to wipe it out of your mind, but also don't pressure them. Just try to understand each and everybody that you meet on a daily basis because we're all going through our own struggles.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right, guys. With that being said, we're going to wrap up this episode of Peter Inside. Whit, do you want to tell them where they can find you? What's the new TikTok name this week?
My new TikTok name is Dr. Whitney's Pink Drink. DRANK this week.
Right, guys.
But you
Listen,
can
go,
always find me at NMC Two Names
guys. Go ahead and
on TikTok.
go
Yep.
and check my girl out. Give her some love. Let her know you saw her here on the show, guys. And as always, thank you so much again for coming. It was great hanging out with you as always. You're always welcome to come back anytime you want and hang out with us. You know, Whit actually said she wants to come co-host maybe some episodes. So we are going to look at that. We're going to see about having her come back and hang out, meet some new people with us. And with that being said, guys, we're going to wrap this episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. Guys, you know where to find me on Pete vs. Anxiety on X, all the way down to TikTok. I'm on Spotify, all the way down to Pandora Radio. And as I always say, it costs nothing, absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you could do can save life, or hell, you can make their day. I'm Pete vs. Anxiety, sent out saying, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health?